Alright, so someone does indeed die in this chapter, and it's not a villain. And I'm also pretty sure you can guess who it is, because it's kind of become like a self-fulfilling prophecy in the community at this point. But let's just get into it. Tamaki thinks about Fat, Kirishima, Tetsu, and Mirio. He concentrates and shoots, calling it Vast Hybrid Plasma Cannon. It's one of the biggest special techniques in the whole series. You can see the beam reaching for miles and miles beyond the barrier. Whoa, so this is pretty incredible. So in the previous chapter, we saw that the big three was kind of stalling against Shigaraki for the most part. And this was to save Bakugo, of course, who was the target of All For One. But not only were they trying to protect Bakugo, but they were also buying time for Tamaki to use his ultimate attack, which turned out to be a fusion of everything that he had eaten prior to coming into this battle, which was like a whole bunch of food, and it all wound up becoming like this one big massive cannon thing. And Nejiri wound up giving him some ammo in the form of her wave quirk. And we're seeing the result here, which is this Vast Hybrid Plasma Cannon, and it's apparently incredible. Like, from the description here, it sounds like some kind of Dragon Ball Z attack. Also, guys, if you like my Hero content, please subscribe if you haven't already. It's fine if you don't want to, but if you just need a reminder, here you go. Thanks. But even that isn't enough to hurt Tomura All For One. He asks Tamaki if he really thinks Prime All Might would die from such an attack. When all seems lost, Bakugo stands up. He's moving insanely fast, and Shigaraki can't keep up. His pupils have cluster explosion effects. So that's kind of surprising. It did nothing to Shigaraki at all. I mean, even Bakugo's howitzer impact cluster was able to do some superficial damage to Shigaraki. So he's way more durable than I guess we assumed. But Bakugo getting up here and moving insanely fast, I guess Bakugo's caught his second wind, because we saw after he was basically defeated mentally and physically by Shigaraki, we ultimately saw that he never really gave up, and he was still focusing on the battle and trying to figure out what he could do or what he could have did in a certain situation. And the implication there was that he was going to go back in for like another round for sure, and we're seeing that happening now. We get some narration explaining his quirk, and it says that cluster has a secondary effect of allowing him to produce explosions from his whole body. While he's fighting, Bakugo thinks to himself, "Can I still keep up with you, Izuku?" So this is pretty incredible, and I've been wondering this for the longest time now, because we know that Bakugo's quirk is centered around his sweat glands. They essentially produce nitroglycerin, so that's how he's able to make his explosions. And we've only really seen him use it through the sweat glands in his palms. And I was wondering, like, okay, so theoretically he would be able to produce it from any sweat gland, right? Meaning that he could just become one massive explosion if he really wanted to, or at least just have multiple explosions coming off of different parts of his body. And it's finally happening here. All For One doesn't understand why he's feeling uneasy, even though he's not fighting against a one-for-all user. That's when he remembers the second user. He then goes for an all-out attack. Bakugo sees himself in a white space, facing All Might's aura / ghost / spirit. Oh, this is quite the turn of events here. So is this like breathing new life into the Bakugo being the second user theory? So in case you're unaware, before we got the full reveal of the second user, and I say full reveal lightly, there was a big theory in the community. I'm not sure who started it, of course, because it's really hard to pin down the originator of theories, but I guess it was sometime around 2018 when we first saw like the silhouette of the second user of One For All. This theory arose that, oh, that's Bakugo, and that some way or another, insert crazy theory here, some kind of time travel happened and Bakugo was always the second user of One For All. I know, sounds crazy, but you know, through fun theory crafting logic, it makes sense. Well, you know, kind of. But like I said, after we got the reveal of the second user, that theory lost a lot of momentum, and it's kind of been like at an all-time low as of lately. Like, for the most part, we all kind of just gave up on it. But this is really odd, right? Why, of all of the characters and all of the situations that are happening right now, All For One is being reminded of the second user in relation to fighting against Bakugo. So I'm definitely not saying that this like guarantees that Bakugo is the second user, obviously. I mean, this could ultimately just mean that Bakugo's quirk, or the way that he's using it right now, reminds All For One of the second user's quirk, or just something like that. You know what I mean? Just he reminds assigns Bakugo the second user, whether it be for one reason or another. Now, another crazy weird thing that's happening right now is Bakugo is suddenly in like a pseudo vestige world at the moment, and he's seeing like the aura vestige of All Might. So why would he be seeing this? I mean, technically he shouldn't be able to, because only One For All users should be able to see it. And I know you're thinking, well, he got One For All for a little bit in the Two Heroes movie. And yeah, he did. But like, is that really canon to the main continuity of the manga? And hey guys, if anyone knows about Horikoshi saying that the movies and the manga's continuity are joined or one or whatever he said, it's me. Trust me, I'm aware. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he like literally meant that. Also, especially because we hardly ever see movie continuity come into the main series. Like when Izuku got his mid-gauntlet a couple chapters back, they didn't even mention Melissa or anything. They kind of just said overseas and dropped it there. And yes, we do see 9, or at least kind of, in that one panel, and I think in like chapter 220 or somewhere around there, but that's it. So if Bakugo is seeing this All Might vestige because he had One For All for like a couple minutes at the end of that movie, then it makes sense for sure. But if it's not because of that, and it's because Bakugo is somehow the second user or something, or he's related to him, and the quirkery of One For All is linking up here, I don't know. Only time will tell as to what exactly is going on here. Bakugo immediately understands what's happening and reveals his only regret. I really wanted you to sign my All Might card. The big three plus Mirko appear and rush towards All For One, landing a blow at him at the same time, but something terrible happens. So the All Might card that he's referring to is actually what we see him and Izuku get in their flashback when they're fighting against each other in season 3. Like they open up like a bag of chips or something and they both get the same All Might card. And that card really means a lot to Bakugo. The news are reporting a sudden increase in the temperature, and the civilians are confused. We see a panel of Bakugo's parents. All For One asks why they thought they had a chance. The heroes are all shocked beyond belief. Bakugo's heart has stopped. He lays on the ground. The last page is a double spread, a truly heartbreaking one. There's blood on Bakugo's face, and you can see All Might's card near him. So, wow. This is like not a drill. Like it's clearly saying Bakugo's heart is stopped, and from this leaked panel, Bakugo looks pretty dead. So is he like dead? Well, I don't really know. I mean, he's definitely dead right now, but for some reason this doesn't feel like it's gonna be permanent, you know? I don't think this is really the end for Bakugo. I mean, this could just be me huffing some serious hopium here, but this just doesn't feel like this is like the end for Bakugo. I mean, we've got the report of the sudden increase in the temperature, Bakugo seeing the vestige of All Might. I don't think this is the end. Something is going to happen here. Bakugo's gonna come back and he might get One For All or something. Maybe not that, but man, I just don't think Bakugo's dead here. I mean, he's dead, but like, I don't think permanently. And if he is dead, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. That's why I kind of just want to reserve my full judgment on whether he is dead or not, because I just don't think it's the case yet, but let's just see how it plays out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about this chapter. Do you think Bakugo is truly dead and that this is the end for him? And if he is dead, how do you feel about that? Let me know. And if you liked the video, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.